I'm gonna talk to Zilly really quick so I can get this.
Talk to Silly. Silly Cakes. How you doing? You feeling okay? You ready to get into the show? You gonna answer some of these? There's a tough one coming up right here. What do you think? Can you handle it? Cool. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
I never know.
We're rolling now.
Okay. Guys, how we doing? I wish I had more rocket fuel left, but
no.
I already went through it.
It's all gone.
It's just here for a prop.
Do you want some of mine? Want some coffee?
No, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Anything different about you? You see that? It didn't take much to lead her in. All it took was like, hi, how are you? And then she started playing with her hair.
I'm just saying, it's shorter and it's lighter.
3 inches off.
3 inches at least off, and it's much lighter.
And colored,
and
right?
Colored, yeah.
And then blown out and salon,
yeah,
little salon magic.
Salon magic.
Little salon magic from an ex-client.
Yes. Well, ex-client makes her sound bad. She's a client.
We got rid of her.
No.
Because of her behavior. No, of course. No, Iris. Iris is a ex-client, meaning we
awesome,
still love her,
yes.
but she's no longer like training with us.
That's
Her
good,
dog
yeah.
has already gone through the program and is doing well.
Yeah.
She was a badass, and she's an awesome hairstylist,
Yeah.
and she hooks you up and takes care of making you look
Takes
pretty.
care of all the stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
She
So,
really does
and
it.
this was a big controversy because we were like, Laura was like, I'm cutting. I thought she was going for
I told him, like, I'm going to cut 3 to 4 inches. And he was like, you're going to look like it's going to be too short for you or whatever. And I was like, no, it's not going to notice it.
Totally different than what I thought. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like, I'm trying to think who I had in my mind that like.
Nine Cujo.
Nine
I think
Cujo.
'cause Taylor Swift just locked her hair. And you were like.
I've been like following all of her stuff. And I've been desperate. I've been hitting her up on Instagram, like, please don't chop it off. And then she went ahead, and it's been a hard one for me to reconcile.
I know you think short hair is adorable. He's
Absolutely.
just never seen me with anything but long hair. So
Yeah,
he's like, this is going to be different.
But to be honest, like when you did the short hair, like the wig in NOLA, like I think that's super hot.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool looking,
I've
but that's
always wanted to do
dramatic.
that.
That's
Yeah.
like is it pixie?
Yeah, like a little pixie cut.
Yeah, so
I
that's
always
like
wanted to shave my head and just wear wigs.
that's
It's hot.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to do anything.
Right, and then
Just
you can
wigs.
be something new every day.
Every day.
Right. A new identity. So, anyways, guys, please, for the love of God, give her some good feedback about her hair, so we can feel good about this. Let's see what else is cooking in this world. So.
Check on it. Keep going.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, like, I want to say 2 things. When Laura gets up and leaves, it's not because she's, like, got a bladder issue, and it's not because she's got attention issues.
No.
It's because we're always trying to make sure the cards that we record this onto, because we sometimes have memory card issues, that they're always continuing to roll.
Because we don't have anyone behind. Usually you have someone behind the camera manning the station, but it's
And
just
it's
us.
you.
It's usually me.
Yeah, she's manning, so...
Yeah, but we don't have anyone, and so I've come up with ways like maybe I'm gonna put a mirror behind it so I can see like if the light's still rolling.
So you can really look at your hair. I think the
My
light's
camera
on.
doesn't have a red light at front.
That's so weird it doesn't have that.
It's because it's second nature. Or this camera primarily is for stills. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
So, anyways, moving on from that,
Yeah.
we had a big adventure last night because Laura bought
Oh my gosh.
I think it was the one that they used to have at the Apple headquarters, where they used to do meetings with like 50, 60 people. Cujo! 50, 60 people around this table. But it's just Laura. But she needed a workspace. So Laura...
I got a coffee table, but it's bigger than this room.
It's a place where you could manufacture coffee, right, for a coffee table. So Laura's been like, she does all of her work and writes Coyote and the Pig for any of you guys that follow that stuff. And typically, I guess you either do that in bed or you do it on the couch, but you don't have like a workstation on the couch.
I have a desk, but my desk is, I'm very type A about this stuff. Like my desk is for specific things. My couch is for more like creative stuff. And like
Yeah. So anyways, we went to go get this table last night, and we'll keep this brief. I know I get long in the tooth here. But I took my Jeep, said, can we borrow the Jeep? Like, sure, let's go. and it was in
I was
Glendale.
going to do it alone. I was like, can I take the Jeep?
That would have been an adventure. Not that I'm laughing at you, but just what it entailed. She's like, it's 10 miles away. Like, it's up in the hills of Glendale and like rush hour traffic.
It's
So
like
it was like
45 minutes.
such an expedition. I think I was thoroughly lied to and like brought into this. And then
He loves me.
I do. And so we get there and we see the table, and the table is freaking long. The table is wide.
I knew it was 4 inches taller than me, and I told you that.
I don't recall that conversation, but I'm not saying she's a liar.
I think I might have told the guy that.
I think you might have.
Okay.
So all I knew is that we were getting a table and...
Coffee table.
Yeah, coffee table. And so, making sure Junior's not attacking Cujo. And so we get it, and it's huge. And like, I'd say, okay, maybe 3/4 of it is inside the Jeep. Maybe I'm pushing it.
It's almost 7 feet long.
Yeah. And a lot of it is not inside the Jeep, right?
No, it's not almost 7. It's like...
Doodles right here. And the problem with the Jeep is, if any of you see my Jeep, so it's got like the window goes up, like you've got this like hydraulic window thing. Then you've got the tailgate that swings out sideways. But then, because I've got this giant tire on it, there's a separate contraption that's the tire holder that weighs like 4,000 pounds. And if you don't lock it all down, it's like a guillotine out there, like to chop cars up with. It's terrible. So we had to like get super ghetto and rope everything down. And
did awesome. That was man stuff. I just stood back. I was like, guys, it was like him and the guy. Well, he didn't. He brought it out.
He's like, I'll see you guys later.
I was like, here's your money. Like, here's your money for your trouble. We'll just leave the table. Like, I was like,
if
don't
we can't
worry about
fit,
it.
we'll,
Just like take
we'll
your
leave
money
it.
and we'll just go. And Sean's like, no. And like, it was man moment stuff where I was like, maybe that's woman moments too. But for me, it's man moments where I shut down. It's like car stuff. Like when my car goes bad, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Call somebody.
Helpless, but.
No, but this is, we all have our skill sets and our strengths. So,
That's a good way to, nice way to put it.
Right? So we roped it up and we drove at about 5 miles an hour.
Yep.
It took us 3 days to get back, longer than my trip back from New Orleans to get back. And, but we got it back, got it into your apartment.
Looks awesome.
And now there's no room for you or anybody else in there, but it looks smashing. It's an awesome table. It's a really cool table.
Yeah.
So you can be able to do a lot of awesome work. So that's good news.
Yeah.
So that was going on. I just got back from New Orleans, cross-country trip. Anybody who followed the videos, you saw that Laura Morgan rerouted me and got me off the Trail of Tears, so to speak, and which is usually the I-10 for like 14 days and like, you know, down like the border of Mexico. And it's just desolate and like, you know, a lot of empty stuff. And I usually try and do it all at one time. And instead, Laura booked me into Jellystone Park, where I got to visit with Yogi. I didn't take a selfie with the croc or the alligator, which bums me out because that was such a missed moment. But it was really nice, and the cabin was great, and so that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you booked me into Flagstaff, Arizona, and I came in at night, so I didn't know what I was in for. And then I wake up in the morning and it's snow-covered blanket, and it's snowing. It was so beautiful. Literally, it's like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I went out for a jog. Laura yelled at me because I could have like lost my extremities because I didn't have gloves.
Cotton in like the snow. It's snowing down. He's got cotton pants on, cotton sweatshirt.
I've got that thin hoodie.
Anything. He's wearing Air Force Ones.
Sorry, Junior walking over the court.
He's wearing Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
But like, you're not supposed to run in at all, and there's no protection. You're probably wearing like light thin socks. I just want to kill you.
And I went after it like nobody's business.
I did a run.
I went after it. Literally, there was moments, this is a funny thing that I didn't share with anybody, but like there was a point where I was coming up the hill, snow's coming down, and I was like really like hoofing. How'd you know?
Because every man.
Because it's implanted, right? So all of a sudden I was like having these deep revelations about Rocky. I'm running, the snow's coming down. There is that movie with Rocky where he's running in the snow where he's got to fight Drago and he's like up on the mountaintop and like carrying wood and like just manning it up, right? And so I didn't have the wood or dragging like an anchor or anything behind me. I was just running and feeling pretty awesome. And I was just like I had this profound moment. I know I'm getting really stretched out here in this intro, but like had this profound moment where I was like, yes, you are.
Just looking at the time.
Yep. Where I was like, the Rocky metaphor is the metaphor for all life and human beings. And I know, it's like, I know that everybody knows that, and I've seen the movies and I've been inspired by them. Don't make me feel stupid. And
I'm just saying, that's really
obvious.
That's the point, right?
Yeah, right. Come on, work with me. You're supposed to be like a teammate that's like, oh, really?
I'm a teammate.
That's fascinating.
Oh, I'm a
Wow,
teammate.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So, even though I might have been observing the obvious, but there was a moment, what I'm trying to say is there was a moment of like integration of it, right? I'm running and I was like, it's really about human beings being knocked down. Life beats them down, and do they have the stuff to get back up and fight until they can say, yo, Adrian, and like, do their thing. Anyways, it was a profound moment.
It's awesome.
And I really had a good time.
I'm glad you did it.
And just because like everything was freezing on me, and I was like, this is Rocky stuff. Like, I mean, I'm sure like there was, probably 10 minutes away from like losing fingers and stuff. So I was like, I'm just pushing through. Anyways, so that's that. And then, yes, I made it back here, and now we're just back in the groove. We've got board and trains loading up. We're doing our thing. Everybody's busy. Tony's packed at Santa Clarita. We're packed. Everything's looking good.
Yep.
Reunited with the whole team here. And to be honest, this is the first freaking time me and you have been back here at HQ.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. It's been a long time, and thanks for everybody hanging with us as we kind of did our thing from New Orleans and Norway, New Orleans and LA, and then finally we culminated with one in New Orleans, which was really cool. And I noticed the views like really like went up, which obviously better camera, but also having you sit next to me rather than like flashing back and forth, and you're like laying in your bed and you're like, hey, what's going on? So.
Sick and like everything.
Right. So, but we made it through. So, anyways, we're back in the saddle. Here we are, rocking with you guys. Are you ready for me to jump and like make this whole thing happen?
Jump.
Rocky style.
Do it.
Dun, 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 dun. Honestly, like my age group, like I think Rocky came out in '77, somewhere around there, and that means that I was like 9. I mean, like those are pivotal times for like a kid. You watch Rocky at like 9 or 10 years old, and you're like, yo, Adrian, I could take on the world. I mean, it's like that was power. Those movies were powerful.
That's why it's a powerful movie. It's great.
Yeah,
it's like timeless.
Yeah, and the actual story behind it and how he actually what he came up against to actually make that happen is pretty profound stuff. Anyways. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and this to my right, finally located back in LA, the lovely, the freshly coiffed, blonde, all the ends are beautiful and everything like that. No taper, is the lovely and sparkly, I don't know why I said that, but the lovely and sparkly, she just sparkles, Laura Morgan. Nail polish, you want to show off that too as well?
This is a color I created.
It looks like Merlot.
It is Merlot.
It's
nice.
Is it Merlot?
No, but that looks like
But
Merlot.
it could be, right?
Yeah, totally.
This is a guy who knows his girl stuff. Anyways, guys, so all this good stuff, all these dogs you can't see, all this shenanigans, we're packed. What do we got? 5 dogs hanging out quietly, well behaved, right? That's good stuff. Shows that we know what we're doing here. We're gonna jump in the show, right? So all that is the good stuff. The good stuff. All that is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday episode
number
56.
There
we go.
56.
56. You ready to jump in?
So ready.
Let's hit it, lady.
Question number 1. This comes from Coralie Edelkiss. She says, hi guys. How do you teach your dog to drop his ball? I am able to get him to drop the tug toy with the e-collar with a medium to low stem and the word off. However, his love for tennis balls seems to be stronger than food, and a high stem on the e-collar, his love for the ball seems to be stronger than food and a high stem. She went to 60.
Yeah.
Thank you in advance. P.S. Can't wait to meet you all in T3 in April.
Oh, wow. Coralie's coming?
I think so. Wait, how did I know that? I knew that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Where are we at in April?
Rhode Island.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, she's coming all the way. Or maybe she's East Coast?
Maybe she's East Coast.
Okay, so Coralie, of course, like always, I've got notes for you. So you've taught your dog drop, or you've taught your dog off, which in your guys' vocabulary means to drop. So as long as your dog knows what that means and knows that when you say that word, he's supposed to do this thing, and you've taught him fairly and he understands that, it sounds like he's pretty clear on it. It sounds like when he's in a drivey mode with this tennis ball, that he doesn't care so much about the command, and he doesn't care so much about the correction, right? So it sounds like what's happening is like your correction and the drive of the dog, they're kind of competing, and you're kind of getting stuck in no man's land. And you said you went to 68. I don't know what e-collar you're using. You're probably
60. She went to 60.
60?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're either using like a Dogtra IQ or a Dogtra 280, most likely, or an e-collar tech. And so if a dog's really high in drive, like a 60 is not that big of a deal. Like Laura correcting Cujo for like dog stuff. Like he's great with dogs, but like we're out on a run, and where were you correcting him at?
It was like 85.
On the Pro.
On the Pro, which is probably heavier than what you're using.
Yeah. And he was like, "Arr!"
Yeah.
But he's so in drive. Like if she would correct him in a low mode with a non-driving mode, it'd be hot stuff.
That would be bad.
Right?
Yeah.
But when the drive starts to escalate and elevate, it turns off a lot of the stuff. It turns off the receptors, the adrenaline's flowing, the dog doesn't really feel it. So what I'd recommend is that your dog, you already taught the dog what it means. So now it's time for compliance. It's like, buddy, when I ask for off, that means spit that thing out. I don't care if it's your tennis ball. I don't care if you love it.
If he knows, Coralie, if he knows, this is the big distinction, guys, is like if the dog doesn't know and you're asking them and giving a correction for something, that's bad. That's like the worst thing ever, and that's
it's unfair,
what gives
confusing
e-collar,
stuff.
Yeah, that's like the bad name for e-collar training. And I know you're not doing that. I'm just saying, like, here's our distinction. But if he knows unequivocally what you're asking for, like Cujo looks at a dog. Oh, he just looked up. He looks at a dog and he's serious about like not doing anything, but just like he's gearing up and he's so excited.
Yeah.
And I tell him no.
Yeah.
And he knows what I'm saying no about because we've had the conversation before on the e-collar.
Right.
But he's still, I can see the choice. No, but this is so much more important to me. So I got to find a level that's more important. So 60 maybe not even close, or maybe 65 is where the level is, or 62. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you have to find.
How do you know which is the right level?
The dog will tell you. Well,
Yeah.
behavior changes.
Yeah. Or either one of those. But like,
felt like I was on
you're like, oh God.
fired.
I don't know the answer. No, but that's right on the money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's only one way to know. Like, if Laura corrects, I keep on calling Hercules, but if Laura corrects Cujo for something he knows he's not supposed to do, and he continues to do it, it's a clear indication that that level's not high enough.
Yeah.
If the dog knows what's expected of him,
Yeah,
right?
if he doesn't know, it's not fair. But if he does.
And he does, and that's what you shared. You shared your dog knows what off means, knows to spit the ball out or whatever object it is, but when he's got his tennis ball that he's crazy about, Belle.
9.
Belle wants to play with Cujo so bad. Belle, no, come on.
9. Plots.
Get over here, you little heartbreaker. So anyways, I don't want to draw this out too long or too much, but it's a simple process, Coralie. So here's what I want. Playing with your dog with the tennis ball, throw it, dog comes back, off. If it doesn't happen, high level correction, pop, right? You can repeat the command if you want, or if you just want to pop immediately right after you say the command and he doesn't comply, he should spit it out. I mean, if you need to be at 80 or 90, do it a few times to where he goes, when mom says this, she means freaking business. And I'm going to spit that ball out. And then as soon as he does, good boy. And then throw the ball again for him and pattern that a bunch, right? Yeah. So he's not feeling like, okay, wow, I lose my tennis ball anytime I spit it out, anytime mom has to use a big correction. Just let him know we're going to continue the game for the most part. Yeah. But when I ask for this, it's non-negotiable, buddy. And that will help you not only with the tennis ball, but it'll help you with your dog in general. You set those firm boundaries with things that are important to him. It's not just about a ball. It's about when there's anything that's more valuable to him than what you're asking for in that moment, and you're able to actually cultivate something where he respects and prioritizes what you're asking for, that's big stuff. It's way bigger than the ball stuff. So I would go after a nice high level correction. And how would she know it's the right level correction?
When behavior changes.
She's like a robot. When behavior changes, it would be, he'd spit out the ball, right? Yeah. So if you say off and you correct at 80 and the ball comes flying out, you know that's a good level.
And then it may change the next time. It may change, like you say off and then you, well, essentially you shouldn't have to do it after that.
But it might take a couple reps.
Yeah, it might take a
if he's
couple
really
reps.
stubborn about it, it might take a couple reps. But I think what I want to do is give you permission to watch your dog and let him tell you what works, and don't get caught up on that freaking number. I don't want you like, I was at 60. Yeah, for him in that moment, it didn't matter, or it wasn't enough, or it was barely enough. Don't nag him, or you'll have to manage and continually like be on him. Or you can set a consequence that's really valuable, and so next time you ask for it, he's like, you know what, that one was really valuable. Spits out the ball, and then everything's cool. So I'm not going to belabor that point any more than I just did. But
get it, Corley. You got it.
Yeah, that's easy peasy stuff because you've done the work. And we will see you at T3.
Question number 2.
Miss Lisa.
Is from Lisa Cater.
Yes.
Lisa says, my son has a very dependent pit bull. He really stresses and whines when not within a few feet of my son or his girlfriend. Nothing has worked trying to make him stop. He's a rescue, and we don't know what happened before they had him. We'll teach place using the e-collar. No, will teaching him place using the e-collar really reassure him and calm him down? Plus, he's a counter surfer, garbage gopher when they are
Never heard that one.
They've had him for 2 years now, and he's 8 years old. Goodness.
Lisa Cater. You guys got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, notes for you too. So, you've got a dog that's dependent on your son and his girlfriend. So that's a dog who's being allowed to be dependent. That's a dog who's probably getting way too much affection, way too much freedom, way too much proximity stuff, which means can be too close to somebody, and not enough training to get his brain in a good space. So we see that stuff all the time. But honestly, what I just said is most likely what's going on. Those are the causes of what you're dealing with. So I would go for a full, like, it depends where you guys are at. Like, if your son and you or the family, I don't know, if everybody's like aligned on this. But if you guys are aligned on this, then like I don't want to say it's an easy fix, but like I don't think you guys have done a lot of the stuff that would make it better. And so I would just do a full program if you're down for it. Like either you do leash and prong or you do e-collar work, but you need to teach that dog sit down, like either one of those tools. Make sure, or both if you're going to do the walk with the prong, but sit, down, place, recall, and heel, right? And you don't just like, oh, he knows sit, cool, he's done. Oh, he knows down, cool, he's done. Place. No, you proof through those behaviors where if you watch our videos and you watch how we do stuff, it's pretty clear that the value isn't that your dog knows to sit or that your dog knows to down or go to place. The value is when I say place, you don't move your butt unless I tell you something else, right? That's how you cause the training to override the dog's impulse or state of mind or intent to do something else, right? So if your dog is needy for your, I want to say boyfriend, if your dog is needy for your son or the girlfriend, then the dog needs to learn place command and not move your butt and let your son and girlfriend move around the house, and the dog has to learn to tolerate that. So,
that's going to be the first step to getting the walk better, because there was a reply. She also told Sandra Chrisman that she, if they're walking, if the daughter or the son and the girlfriend get a couple feet away, then he starts to flip out.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same thing. The place command inside the house is going to help all that. It's just getting the dog to feel more independent.
Yeah. I'd be so curious how much affection goes on. I'd be so curious how much freedom that dog, I would bet dollars to donuts, which I don't know what that means, but I would bet that dog roams around the house freely pretty much and does what he wants to do.
Follows them around the whole time.
Yep. Has couch time, furniture time, all that stuff. So like, if you want real help, if this isn't just like, this is annoying and like we'd like some quick fix, because there's not a quick fix for it. If you really want to like sort it out, go to our free videos and either do leash and prong work with the free videos or do leash and prong work and then e-collar work and teach your dog all of those basics and train him and proof him through it. And by proofing, it's simple. It's not some complex thing. Proof him through it to where when you say place, it doesn't matter what goes down in that house, the dog doesn't move from it. When you say down, he doesn't move from it. He heals like an angel on leash. And what's going on? Was it reactivity on leash or something like that?
No, that's what she was saying.
Or whining about. Yeah. So just the whole thing is like this stuff. what you just listed, I was just talking with a client that just came in. What you just listed is what every client like brings in, the laundry list, we call it. And I don't mean that disrespectful, but it's the laundry list of symptoms. But that's what they are, they're symptoms. When dogs come in, all we do is our regular program of everything I just shared with you, and those dogs' symptoms go away. All of that, like, of course, it doesn't mean they're like miraculously healed, but like 95% of that stuff, the dependency, the whining, the insecurity, all of that stuff goes away simply by giving structure, rules, guidance, and training that dog's butt so the dog actually can feel comfortable in its own skin. What's happening is that this dog is not getting enough information about how to live in the world, so it's become needy and dependent, and it doesn't know any better. So it's not like there's a quick fix. The quick fix, or the real fix, is doing all this work to make the dog better. So I hope that doesn't sound like tough love. It's just kind of true love. And that means if you guys aren't willing to do that work, most likely the dog will stay stuck in that spot. Yep. So we've got so many free videos, and people have trained their dogs from around the world using them, like with zero help from us. So if you guys are really interested, and if secretly, son and girlfriend don't appreciate the like neediness from the dog, if they really don't want it, then you guys can absolutely change that if you want to.
Yep.
Anything to add to that, young lady?
No.
No?
Just go for it. Do all the stuff if you guys really want it, just like Sean was saying. Like, go through the program. But very least, doing the place command by e-collar, like enforcement, is
I mean,
awesome.
you can do our DVD. I mean, there's a couple different things, right?
Yeah.
You could do a phone consult with us. You can always email us about a phone consult if you need more specific help. Our prong collar DVD is not just like good for prong collar training, but it really like gets into the details and psychology of like how to fix your dog. So that's also available to you along with the free videos. But we've got 350 videos that you can like jump into. You know what? It always comes down to the same thing. Like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
If you want it, if it's just a pain in the ass and you guys are willing to accept it, it'll remain that way. If you're like, we're done with this and we want to change, there's plenty of resources out there for you guys to make some stuff happen and get your dog into a better space.
Yep.
Cool?
Cool.
Thanks. This is a rare one where we actually have 2 questions by the same person.
Right.
Coralie ganged up on us. Coralie. We actually didn't have a lot of questions this week, so it was good. It was kind of a quiet one. We've run our course.
All right. Question number 3. Coralie says, I'm going to sneak one more in.
Yes.
My boy cries every morning at 6:30 a.m. for food. I wanted to try bonking, but his crate is on the other side of the house by the time I get there. He knows I'm here and stops crying. Any alternative?
Just so everybody knows what bonking is, right? It can sound a little bit like, what do you mean? Bonking is a technique, we've talked about it before on the show, and that's Gary Wilkes kind of like pioneered it. It's like super lo-fi. It's a rolled up towel, and if you go to his website, you Google Gary Wilkes, he'll walk you through the whole process. It's a rolled up towel with like 2 or 3 rubber bands on it, and then basically it becomes an aversive that your dog does something you don't like, you mark it with no, and then you nail them with the towel. You like toss it at them, and dogs hate projectiles; they can't really dodge them, so it has a pretty like significant aversive effect, Zilly. Snoring Zilly. A significant aversive effect. Now the problem is, like you're saying, you don't have you've got an issue because your dog's across the house, you're in bed, he's whining for food or barking or whatever and making noise. Now you could like loudly mark it with like no, and then you could like truck out of bed, have your bonker go over and bonk him. But I think you'll get like, my suspicion would be you would get pretty diminishing results or not so solid results. The real trick would be, and we get this with like almost every dog that comes in, like that goes in the kennel, there's some kind of whining or barking or some kind of misbehaving stuff going on, and using an e-collar to correct that stuff is a piece of cake. Yep. And she's got the dog on e-collar, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, dog's on e-collar. So you've already got this nailed down. You just don't know the answer to it, but it's so cool that you've done the work. And basically, here's the answer. And I know you've heard us and probably everybody else talk about don't leave e-collars on dogs for extended period of time. But the thing is, when you're trying to get through an issue like this, like the dog being, if we have a dog that's noisy in the crate, we'll definitely leave the collar on overnight. We'll switch it right before they go to bed, and then we'll switch it right when they wake up. But the whole thing is you have to be able to correct to get the dog out of that space. So put the e-collar on your dog before you go to bed, or if you get up in the middle of the night, potty break or something, you can put the e-collar on the dog, and then you can go back to bed, and then have the remote right next to you. And as soon as your dog starts to, I was going to say mouth off, but that sounds kind of mean. Rah, 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 rah. As soon as your dog starts to get like mouth it off, then like, hey, it's breakfast time, lady. Chop, chop, get over here. You just reach over, give them a correction. You don't have to say no. You don't have to say anything. And you do that at a firm enough level, and you'll find that that dog will not do that at 6:30 in the morning, and that change will happen very quickly. So e-collar's the answer. Most likely it'll only take a couple times. If you do it at a significant level, he'll just stop doing it, and then you won't have to leave the e-collar on him overnight. But initially, it's the only way in. The only way in is to have that collar on him. When the behavior happens, you nail him for it, and he goes, cool. Because right now, like the whining and the barking or whatever the thing is, I'm sure it's getting a reaction out of you, and I'm sure it's causing him to feel it's some kind of rewarding behavior. But if he gets corrected for it instantaneously, it ain't rewarding, and you'll see it stop. So that is your answer, and you only get 2 this time, all right? No more. Thanks, Corley. Okay.
Okay, so question number 4. This comes from Miss Patricia. Patricia says,
A lot.
Patricia Lynn Dunlap Poe says, I have a male dog that loves to sleep behind my back at night. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's always trying to chew on my hands or feet. He's chewed up a really big windowsill and ripped the carpet in the living room. He did this only times I left to go somewhere. I did get a kennel for him, and when I leave the house, he loves getting in it when I leave.
Good.
He thinks the backyard is his. When I let him go out and I go to follow him, he barks at me and chomps his teeth and then runs and jumps up on me, almost knocking me down.
Lovely.
He has ripped up the in-ground pool cover to pieces and all the flower pots and anything sitting around them. He's also dug holes in the yard, and once under the fence ended up in a next-door neighbor's yard. He will not let me pet him or get near him in the backyard, but will in the house. I do have a shock collar, but I'm afraid to use it. Please give me some advice. Thanks. Is there charge for your advice?
There is not a charge for our advice. Okay, so Patricia, real quick, let me see if I can run this down because you've got a lot of stuff going on. So you can schedule a phone consult with us if you like. thegooddog.la@gmail.com, and we do phone consults. If you want more explicit information for you and your situation, we're happy to do that. So you can email us and set that up if you need it. Otherwise, I'm going to run through some information real quick for you to keep this like brief and not let your mind explode. So your dog's being a total jackass, right? And obviously your guys' relationship is out of balance. Your dog knows it, and he's taking advantage of it. So that dog should not be in your bed. That dog should not be allowed on any furniture. That dog has not earned privileges to do any of that stuff. Only good, polite, well-behaved dogs deserve to be anywhere near your furniture or even proximity-wise close to you. They haven't earned that stuff. So furniture stuff, done. Get rid of it. I'd be really super cautious about affection stuff. It's the easiest way for you to send a mixed message to your dog who's already feeling entitled and empowered about who you are in his life and what role you want to play, and that you are a softer presence, and he's going to just take advantage of it, right? Every time he's being a jackass, even if he's not like, even if he's not like doing something horrible, even if he's just hanging out and you're like giving him the prince treatment, such a good boy, because now I can pet him when he's not biting me. All you're doing is reinforcing your soft space and his elevated space, right? So, and I'm not talking about like dogs being dominant and trying to take over the house and all that stuff. I'm talking about the simple I'm talking about the simple dynamic. Sorry, we got loud drinking stuff. The simple dynamic of expressions and conversations that we have physically and emotionally with our dogs that cause fallout and bad behavior, right? So affection stuff, get rid of it. Be a Scrooge. You should only give him like a good, right? Touch him on the shoulder or whatever on the head. Good when he does something immaculate. Make him earn and be desperate for that affection rather than you just doling it out, because that is going to ruin your guys' situation even more. You've got a shock collar. e-collar, we like to call it, I would go through our free videos at www.thegooddog.net. Go to our do-it-yourself videos, check out our prong collar stuff. Go through that first. Get him trained on the prong collar for sit, down, place. Sorry, a lot of action in here. Sit, down, place, thresholds, heel. Go through the whole rigmarole of what we've got. Then overlay the e-collar stuff on that and watch those e-collar videos very carefully. Our new e-collar video comes out probably next month. So if you want to wait on the e-collar and just do prong stuff now, you can really get that situated, and then you can get into e-collar down the line when we have the video that you can go step by step with. Problem with the prong collar, it works really well, but your dog knows when the leash and prong is on him and when you can actually correct him and affect change and when you can't. So e-collar is very different. Dog always knows that you can affect change. You can always influence him. Big difference in those tools. Now, once you've conditioned him to that stuff with the e-collar, you're able to correct all of the monkey business you're struggling with the mouthing, the barking, the being a jackass in the backyard, destruction. Once he's conditioned, he starts digging holes, eating the planter, eating the pool cover, whatever the heck it is. You roll up high, watching through the window. That's my window. You roll up high, pop, and your dog goes, wow. Planter, pool, holes, none of it's fun. It's all hot. I don't dig it. I don't want it. I mean, literally don't dig it. And I don't want it anymore. That's how you work them through that stuff. But it's not going to happen unless you really, really, really want it, right? So just like I said earlier in the show, it's all predicated on you wanting this. If it's just a pain in the rear and all this training sounds like too much work, then you're probably not going to get very far or anywhere, and your dog's only going to get worse. If you need help, hire a pro. They can come in and help coach you, and don't hire a treat trainer. Hire a balance trainer who uses these tools, prong and e-collar, and help them if you need the coaching, if you need the push, if you need the extra motivation, right? So I think that's it. I think I'm gonna, and then he should be crated anytime that he's not supervised. He should not be in that backyard when you're not around to be able to do destructive things. I don't want him practicing any destructive behaviors in your absence. So lock him down, treat him like a dog that's being a bad dog, train him up, be firm with him emotionally, lead the crap out of him, structure his world, tell him how it's gonna go down, and you can actually turn this dog all around and then have a guy that you actually enjoy living with rather than a guy who's like terrorizing you. So that is my answer.
All right, we've got question number 4. This is from Jean. Jean says,
I think it's 5.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5. Yes.
Yep.
Question number 5.
Be honest.
Jean Shope. Jean says, I'm trying to overcome the fear of using an e-collar with my dog.
Yep.
Yes, I've watched the videos on it, but I'm wondering if I wait for your remote training DVD to come out, will it help me from start to finish to overcome the fear of messing up my dog with the remote? I really feel it will be beneficial to both of us, yet from some around me, I keep hearing unless working with a professional that trains with it, you'll make your dog dangerous. I have an 11-month-old Rottie. It's not exactly what I want to happen. Do you see anyone training a Rottweiler with an e-collar? Does the breed make a difference?
You cannot train a Rottie with an e-collar.
No.
There's something in their neck makeup that...
something I think in their between their eyes.
Is it?
It's like a bump.
It's a bump?
Yeah.
It's like a bad dog bump?
Yeah, bad dog
and
bump.
It turns them into dangerous, fierce beasts. Bloodthirsty. We're having fun. Okay. Just kidding, and not at your expense. We're just trying to entertain ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Manny, nope. So first thing about our e-collar DVD, it will definitely walk you start to finish through the process. I think we're both pretty certain that it's about the most comprehensive. God only knows from all the gray hair that we're both developed and the lack of sleep over the last 6 months or a year. It's pretty damn comprehensive, and we went really, really above and beyond, trying to make it simple and easy and very step by step, so anybody could work with it and get the value they need. So probably next month that it's out, probably December, right?
Yeah.
So if you can wait that long for it, cool. It should definitely be able to get you where you want to go, and I think it'll help you, help assuage your fears, seeing like a lot of very simple step-by-step stuff rather than kind of like more macro general stuff. It's very like detailed. So that might help you. As far as the dangerous stuff, there's a lot of myths surrounding e-collar work. Mostly they talk about like making dogs aggressive, making dogs dangerous, things like that, making them fearful, shutting them down, breaking their spirits, all that stuff. E-collars, when used correctly, are honestly the best tool we've ever found. All of our, like Cujo's on an e-collar right now, Hercules is on an e-collar right now, Manny's on an, okay, I'm lying.
Should be.
Manny's on a couch right now. Yeah, he should be. So e-collar, where was I going with that? Just we're talking about the myths and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just doing it right. It's just literally the best. Like we joke, me and Laura have joked so many times, like every dog should be like come with an e-collar, because what it is an invisible leash. It basically gives you the ability to communicate with your dog. If you think about it less about electricity and shock stuff and think about it as a giant invisible leash that can go up to a mile in distance and allow you to communicate with your dog, it's the fact that people have lived and struggled with just leash stuff for so long is like, we're so lucky to have this moment in time where the e-collars are so good and they're so humane and have so many different levels that you can really teach in a really kind, fair, humane fashion, and yet still having the ability to correct if you need to and get your dog's attention and make sure they're behaving themselves. So a lot of myths around the e-collars. If you do it right, it's not going to do it. Like if you read in like the brochure on Dogtra or the other e-collar manufacturers, their whole thing is don't put it on the dog for dog aggression and start correcting him. Because if you haven't taught the dog what the e-collar means and you put him around a dog and you start correcting, the dog's going to assume that pain or discomfort or stimulation is coming from the dog, and the other dog, and he's probably going to fight the other dog because of it. So that's why they say that, and then it turns into this whole big thing. We use it all the time for dogs around other dogs to teach them how to behave more appropriately with dogs, but that's only because they've been conditioned priorly. So as far as Rotties, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of Rotties have been trained on e-collar. There's nothing about Rotties not being able to be trained. I think I hear more about like Huskies and stuff like that being like impossible to recall train and stuff like that, and even that's not true. But we've trained plenty of Rotties here. We've had tons of them, and they've all been e-collar trained. They've all been awesome. You can, like, if you want to see, like, go to our YouTube channel, The Good Dog Training, and type in Geronimo.
Oh yeah, Geronimo's a great example.
Yeah, he's a young pup, Roddy, and he's totally off-leash, e-collar trained, and you can see what that really looks like, and it's pretty freaking awesome. So, so what I'd suggest for you is either you wait for the DVD next month, or you hire a balanced trainer that knows how to really use e-collar well, and they help you walk through the process so you don't feel nervous about it, and you can make sure you get the best stuff for you and your dog. But you absolutely can train your dog with this stuff, and it'll be the best thing. If you do good work with it, it'll be the best thing ever. So that's what I got for you.
All right, question number 6. This comes from Sandra Christman.
Yep.
Christman.
Client. Ex-client, I'm not allowed to say.
But in the good way.
Yes.
Says, hi guys.
With Laz.
Love Q&A, yep. This is an actual training question, but it might really help people like me who want to get a new addition to the pack and train it TGD way.
Yeah.
I want to adopt from the shelter to save a life if possible. I'm looking forward to training him and her with your principles. Question is how to make a good selection in an environment that most dogs find stressful, to say the least. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for us adopting that might help us make the best or better choice? I wondered if there's different considerations, like because my current dog is a male, although we socialize with a pair of female dogs. If my current dog is e-collar trained but still is fearful, do I look for a more confident dog, a more relaxed, happy-go-lucky dog? Thanks for any advice and insight.
This is such an awesome question.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've ever had it before.
Yeah. About integrating a
No, and like picking a dog. Yeah. So Sandra, way to go with keeping us on our toes with a good question. So here's the thing. Like, I was thinking about that. I was talking with Brittany today and was talking about the answer to your question, and I was really picturing, because like a lot of trainers provide a service where they go to shelters and help people pick out dogs, and we don't really do that. So I don't spend a ton of time in shelters. I've definitely, like, all my dogs came from there except for Belle, who's on the freeway. So I am experienced with it, but it's not like something that I do every day or every week or something like that. But here's what I would go with. I mean, when you asked that question, I started to think about myself. Oh, Sean, you're so great. Stealth. No, I was starting to think about my guys, right? And what they look like at the shelter. And here's what I'd recommend, right? So everybody knows about kennel craze and how shelters make dogs really stressed out and really freaked out and really anxious. What I'd look for is the dog who's in that environment and rocking. Honestly, like, I think this is maybe the best, most solid advice I can give you is walk into the shelter, and the dogs that are barking crazily at the door, that's not a good choice. The dog who's shut down in the back, that's not a good choice. The dog who's unsure and like vacillating back and forth, not a good choice. The dog who, like, in the midst of all that stress and chaos, walks right up politely, sniffs you, licks your hand, something like that. Like, you can feel politeness, you can feel courteous behavior, you can feel like quiet confidence in a dog without the dog, like, when a lot of people say confidence, they mean like the dog's jumping up on the thing like, hey, pick me. But like, I picture Belle. When I picture like a dog in a shelter situation, I picture my girl Belle, and I just know that it wouldn't matter what was going on. Right? She'd just be hanging out, and if you walked up to the shelter door, she'd walk right up to you, she'd lick your hand, and she'd be awesome. And that has little to do with me. That has much more to do. Can they hear me still? Yeah. Give it a second. Give it a little bit. It has little to do with me, and has a lot more to do with just fundamentally who she is. Junior, when I found him in the shelter, was literally like in his dog that he was like at day camp. He's like, all these guys are crazy. He's like, what's cooking, guys? He was just easygoing and just comfortable with it. And I didn't get to see Manny in the shelter, but my suspicion would be that Manny would largely be just who Manny is. Manny's not going to be at the light. He'd probably be sleeping, laying there. So I think you really have an opportunity. It's kind of a cool thing, and I never really thought about it, but I think it's a cool thing and a cool opportunity that what you get to do is go in, see dogs in a really high-stress situation, and then pick dogs that are coping really well with that. And then if you pull them out of the shelter...
not the dog in the corner, like, being nervous. Not that dog, but the dog that's just, okay,
just easy with it. And I kind of mentioned that, like, don't go for the one that's nuts at the thing, and don't go for the one that's really shut down or anything like that. Don't feel bad for them. But if you pull a dog out of there that has that kind of, like, ability to tolerate stress in the world, that dog's going to thrive in, like, being at home, like, around... Like, your family's over for Christmas, that dog's gonna be like, big deal. I've been in the big house. I know what I know what real stress is. Totally. This is piece of cake. So try and keep your heart out of it, and try and keep your mind and your emotions tuned into what you're really seeing. And I truly believe you can see courteousness, politeness, demeanor if you look for it. If you get past the, like, he's being celebratory, and you really look for, like, what's the vibe coming off this dog? You can really get a feel for what's going on with that. So that's the main advice. Just pick the one that's thriving in that environment, because it sets you way ahead of the game. And then I would most likely get a female. And you said what kind, like confident or whatever. I would say male. You've got a male dog, I'd grab a female, because it tends to be a much easier integration. And I'd just look for a sweet, polite female. Like, confident is like being sweet and polite. That's confidence. Confidence isn't like going up and like manhandling other dogs, or like, I mean, you could say it's like happy-go-lucky confidence, but what I would love for you guys to have is not a dog that's like, doesn't have any personality or mopey, but it, like, I just think Belle's a good example, because Belle's very playful, but she also knows how to shut it off and just be chilled out and relaxed. So kind of look for that. Look for that polite, sweet dog that's going to be a pleasure to integrate and be easy for Laz, so he can learn how to tolerate it. So hopefully that helps. That's a good question, though. Cool. Thanks.
Question number 7. This is from Elisa Siciliano McShane. Wow.
Goodness gracious.
Fancy. Elisa says, hello all, I'm in desperate need of some help. I adopted a puppy 4 months ago. He was the most wonderful puppy, calm and playful at the same time and extremely friendly. We signed him up for training because he's a bulldog mix. We wanted to make sure he wasn't a big, unruly dog.
Yeah.
He went to class every day for 3 months and did great. They brought us in, taught us everything.
Nice.
Take him to the dog park. He goes to daycare and he's great.
Yep.
However, all of a sudden, he has begun to growl, bark, and lunge at people he knows and doesn't know when he's on leash.
Huh.
So to the point where I'm afraid to walk in without my husband. The biggest problem is we live in an apartment and neighbors are complaining about him now. And one more complaint and they told us he goes or we go. Oof. I don't understand because at the dog park or daycare he has no problems. Is this a form of aggression? Why only on leash? Any help you could offer would be greatly appreciated. Oh, Elisa.
Yeah.
Tough one.
So first of all, Elisa, this is really common stuff, right? Yeah. So it's common in a couple ways. It's common in that you're having leash aggression issues or leash reactivity issues. Yeah. And not seeing it in other contexts. And it's also common that you've got a bulldog that you're seeing this with, because bulldogs tend to have this kind of persnickety, protective, who the hell are you, get off my lawn, kind of like mentality. Yeah. And so if they're not met, like even though your dog went to training, like training is like, your dog could go to training for 3 months, 6 months, but if the dynamic that you share with him isn't one of like knowing sit down, place, and all this crap, if the dog, all this crap, all this good stuff, if the dog knows all that, but there's not like real leadership and real accountability for those behaviors, and he's just freewheeling around the house, none of that stuff really matters. You're not going to get any value out of it headspace-wise for your dog. So if I had a bulldog that was doing that stuff, his butt would be locked down in the house and he'd be listening his rear off. Come, place, down, don't move, I'm going here, don't move, then I'll call you over here, don't move. If you don't come when I call you, correction, get your rear over here, that kind of stuff. So my suspicion is that there's probably too much looseness, too much affection going on. I don't know if the dog's on bed or couch or any furniture stuff, but a dog who's behaving in a protective, like territorial, starting to like letting some snotty stuff flow, should not be on the furniture, should not be sitting on your lap, should not be doing any of those things that are going to be mixed messages that are going to cause him to feel entitled, empowered, protective, anything that can lead him astray and get him into trouble. So, and that sounds to a lot of people like a real drag, because it's like, well, why do you have a dog? But you have a dog, when you have a problem with them, you have to get that dog into a good space before you can indulge yourself, right? So you did all sorts of good stuff getting him started with training, but now he's maturing, and what you're seeing are more true colors of the dog that you actually have. It's super duper common. As dogs start to age, go through adolescence into maturity, typically we see dogs come in here between 1 year and 3 years old. That's like the primary thing. That's when behavior really like starts to slide and change. So that's what you're seeing right now, and the other component of this is the leash stuff, right? So let me explain that real quick, and that's once again something we see 1 million times a day, which means it's a really busy day for us. But the fact of the matter is, leashes make dogs very different than off-leash. So your dog goes to daycare, no leash on, I can do whatever I want, I'm cool, I'm comfortable, I'm not stressed, I'm not frustrated. Your dog goes to the dog park, same dynamic. Your dog walking down the hallway on a leash, restrained, maybe pulling on it, his place, feeling like it's his apartment building, starting to get territorial, as bulldogs will get, and then you guys not having him in a space like where he's walking like a polite gentleman. I don't know what tools you're using. If you've got him on a harness, your goose is cooked. I would get that dog on a prong collar straight away, and I would watch our do-it-yourself videos. Especially, I would watch I think it's called the walk. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're gonna do like start with prong, right? The walk, and then do place. If you don't do anything else, start with that. Get the affection really low. Get the ability to be on furniture, like off the charts or off the table, and start laying down some rules for this guy. Like, knowing behaviors doesn't mean anything. Being accountable for behaviors, that changes everything. When you start laying down rules and holding your dog accountable, 9 flats. That's when things change. Yeah. And most likely what's happened is your dog got trained, probably trained in like a treat training, positive only way, so he knows all these things, but he's not relationship-wise inclined to care about what you guys are looking for.
Yeah.
You might be decent in the house and you're not seeing problems, but what's
He's
happening...
also having a lot of freewheeling, like dog park is freewheeling, daycare is freewheeling, like all this stuff
absolutely.
is like free, and then he gets out
and exciting.
Yeah, and like
Revved
he's
up.
like revved, and then he gets out on the walk, and we have, you know, we're thinking about bulldogs being snotty. There's also like a lot of bulldogs come in here with like so much snot and so much and I'm gonna blah, blah. But you start taking away their freedom, or you start like going no, and they're like a crumbling mess. They've been I've been waiting for direction like this.
Yeah.
I've hated living in this space where like everything is free for me. I run the show, I run the walk, I run this, and they come with so much like
baggage and stress.
But also so much like
bravado.
A bravado, so like they come off a certain way, but the reality is, I mean, I can think of like a handful of bulldogs we've had in here where like literally no major correction, just all of a sudden saying, no, you stay here, you do this, you do this.
They walk in like
doing all this stuff, and then you start telling them what to do, and they're like, oh, okay, well, whatever, I'm good, I'm glad that you're doing this for me because I've been waiting for someone to come along. So you may be getting into that. You've got a young dog. You know, if it feels like too much what we're talking about, you definitely want to hire someone because you don't want to get kicked out of your place. Yeah. That's big stuff. So just, you know, if you need to hire someone, contact us, thegooddog.la@gmail.com, and we'll give you we'll see if we can find
a referral for you.
Or you could do a phone consult or something like that.
My suspicion is this is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And so I'd be so curious what tools you're walking them on. We see so many bulldogs walking on harnesses, which just completely freaking empower them to be their worst. So you see all these great behaviors where he's like at the dog park and being freewheeling and at daycare, but then you're saying like, walk with me and behave yourself, and he's saying, no. So you need tools to be able to empower you to get this dog walking nicely. And if he is on a prong collar, if I'm totally wrong and he is on a prong collar, then you should e-collar train him and teach him how to walk, which we've got a fantastic e-collar video, Fusa, the German Shepherd, on our do-it-yourself videos, www.thegooddog.net. You can watch that for free. You can e-collar train him how to walk. You walk through your hall, he starts to look at another dog, correct, after you've trained him how to use the collar, and he'd be like, whoa, sorry, I get it. But right now, you guys have no way to influence him in a way that obviously matters to him. Whatever tools you're using, you're either not using the right ones, or if you are, you're not using them appropriately for him because he's just doing his thing. And we all know that bulldogs are stubborn and very intense about what they want to do. So if you're being soft, if you're being easy with rules, if you're giving a lot of freedom, you're letting them be jazzed up a lot, and you're not sharing consequences for crappy behavior, your goose is going to be cooked with this guy. It's just the nature of that, like that breed with that combination of human being allowing too much of that stuff, and things go like this, whoop, and your dog's up here and you're down here, and you're going to find trouble. So you need to bring that back in balance. So I'd suggest you go through our videos and start watching and checking things out, and I think you'll find there's a hell of a lot of answers and a lot of information to be gleaned from that. Our Q&A Saturdays, same thing. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about similar issues. But it all comes down to like state of mind. Train your dog to where he's a respectful, polite guy, and you won't see this stuff. And I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but you're going to get kicked out, and you're going to either lose your dog or you're going to lose your place. So like Laura said, either dive deep into these videos and resources, or hire somebody to get on board with you, because you don't need to deal with this stuff. It's probably fairly easy to fix.
Fairly easy to fix.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps. And you could always do a phone consult with us, you know, like I've mentioned to other people, which is at thegooddog.la@gmail.com if you need help with more detailed stuff. Cool? Good luck. Okay.
So we've got question number 8. This comes from Instagram.
Catty Too Fast.
Catty Too Fast. Catty Too Fast says, "Hey guys, so I've finally seen all the episodes, so I guess it's time for reruns. LOL. Thank you for all you do."
Are we in syndication yet?
My question for the week is, my 1-year-old pit mix is doing really good off leash and on. I'm having a problem with her eating cat and rabbit poop while off leash. By the time I come to investigate what she's munching on, she's already off to something else, so I feel it's too late to correct it. There's been a few occasions when when I did catch her and probably undercorrected using the e-collar. So now a lot of times she looks at me to see my initial reaction, meaning she knows she's not supposed to.
Right.
How do I go about correcting it, especially when distance is in her advantage, since I can't tell sniffing from eating?
It's a tough one.
That's a tough one,
right?
yeah.
Right. I think so I even wrote, like, the first thing I wrote to myself is this is a bit challenging, right? Because of the distance, and I think we've all been there, right? We've all been. It's the nature of dogs, right? So super scent oriented. They like to eat things they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
They're at a distance. What the hell do you do? It's a hard one. So my biggest suggestion is, if you really want to try and sort it out and handle it and get it knocked out, would be don't let your dog get too far afield. Don't let your dog get too far away from you right now. Recall the dog back. You can let the dog forage out, but keep the dog close enough just for a couple weeks where the dog is in good, clean, or clear sight for you to where you can see exactly what's going on. I know it's so much fun to let your dog kind of do its thing, and that's fine. But if you want to if you want to knock this out, what I would do is I'd make sure my dog is within, like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet of me, if that works for you. And just keep a nice eye. And what I would do is I would be super nonchalant and not have my dog think I'm watching, right? Because your dog's already, like, onto you, like, is dad watching? Yep. So I'd be super nonchalant. I just keep the dog in a nice little bubble around me. And the second that I see my dog actually, like, legitimately, no questions asked, jumping into anything it shouldn't be eating, I'd roll probably all the way up and press and hold that button. A couple seconds. Yeah. Your dog's gonna go, ah! It's not pretty. And what your dog's gonna do is go poop eating, whatever flavor or brand it might be. I'm not into it so much. Now, you might have to catch your dog doing it a couple times, but that's how we get rid of poop eating. The thing is, you can't be unfair and correct because you think maybe she's poop eating. It looks like that looks tremendously like a poop eating moment. But if you're not sure, if you can't see it, you can't correct for it. So you have to do your work and keep the dog close. And then when you do catch the dog doing it, don't pussyfoot around because you may not get a lot of chances, right? So the whole thing is, like, make sure those levels are high and significant to where your dog really prioritizes in the future much better choices. And that's all up to you. Keep them close, correct high, and then go out and do that. Here's the thing, go out and do that for a couple weeks until you find your dog, like, moving away from stuff, right? Your dog walks by a nice little pile of something and is like,
tempted, and
I'll just go over here. That's when you know you've made some nice progress. And you may need to tune it up and keep on the dog, at some point. But if you'll keep them close and correct high, I think you can sort this out and get it. Anything you'd add to that?
Nope. Just knock it out.
Knock it out, baby. Knock it out. All right, we got one more.
Okay. Question number 9 comes from Casey Sheridan Smith.
How did you get your hair so beautiful and so blonde? The ends are just not tapered anymore, and I'm just shocked and amazed.
My hair was so broken at the bottom, but I wanted it long, but now I'm like...
It was broken at the bottom just because you let it grow out?
Yeah, and I also am tough on my hair. I
like curling and stuff like that?
No, not just that. I get it wet or I shower, and then I, like, put it in a bun. Like, girls that are watching this that are
they're like,
ah!
Why? What does that do?
Put it in a tight bun.
What does it do?
It just breaks the hair because the hair is really soft, like, when it gets out of the shower.
Oh, really?
And then I tighten it up in a bun and, like, put it and, like, sleep on it, like, in a ponytail.
So it's just hard on it?
Yeah.
It breaks the hair and stuff.
I'm not the most...
The girliest of girls?
Like, I don't think of those things.
You come from a long line of tomboy action, right?
Yes, but
you've also transcended.
I have
right?
nails.
You got nails.
I get my hair done.
Your hair done.
I do all this stuff, but there's things that get by me. I think that's what happens. I go like, wait, what? And everyone's like, didn't you know that? I'm like, yes.
I love it. I love your, like, little balance of your two worlds.
We're working on it.
You're doing good. You're doing good. And once again, for anybody who doesn't know, if you're having nail biting issues, Laura conquered that by getting her nails done. You bit your nails all your life.
My whole life, and on my 30th birthday, I got fake nails, and I haven't looked back.
And you haven't chewed them, right?
A lot of you can't. It's literally like
break your teeth? Really? I didn't know that.
It's acrylic.
But have you been tempted?
Oh Oh yeah, you'll see me all the time. Like I've been doing it since I was like 6 years old.
So you'll actually will like do
I'll
this.
go like this, and I'll like I'm not really trying, but it's just putting my hands.
Just
on
the
my
habit
mouth
of doing it, but then you go broken glass and
broken
cool.
teeth.
Cool.
Yeah.
So good tip for you ladies if anybody's got some
No
chewing
one
issues.
has it like after like age 12.
No, that's not true.
Okay, so Casey, question number 9 says
Yes.
She actually asked on a different post, so I answered her. I told her that we're going to answer it here.
Oh, nice. Great.
So, hi, I wasn't sure how to ask this question, so I thought I'd put a quick comment here and see if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
First, I've watched your e-collar videos, and I appreciate so much how you train using them. I've always been really leery of e-collars because it seemed like a negative way of training dogs, but your approach seems doable by a non-trained trainer like me and totally humane, so thanks.
That's right. Awesome. Thanks. Nice compliment.
My actual question is, at what age is it okay to work with an e-collar on a dog? I have a 6-month-old pittie puppy who's absolutely wonderful 99% of the time, but his recall is terrible and he tends to willfully ignore myself or my husband when we call him.
What?
And he really enjoys digging up my backyard. We can't even lure him back into the house with treats anymore because he's wise to our tricks. He knows basic commands, and I would say with the exception of stay, is reliable 90% of the time. Is he too young to start on the e-collar? Thanks again.
It's a great example of knowing what's what's that famous quote from The Matrix? There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like your dog knows the path, but he ain't walking the path, right? So knowing and doing, big difference, right? So your dog, I just wrote you guys probably won't see this for a couple of days, but I just wrote a post today on the Good Dog Tip called The Gift of Accountability. And it's all about this stuff. It's like your dog will only give you as good of stuff as you ask, as you demand of him. And you're trying to, here's the thing, you're trying to demand more, but you don't have the tools and the strategy in place to be able to make that actually happen. So what your dog has figured out very quickly is that there's a lot of limitations to your influence and consequences for his behavior. So he's saying at some points, yeah, you're trying to lure me back with the treat and calling me back, but the backyard's way more fun, so you guys can kiss my behind, and I'll see you when I'm ready to see you. So, anyway, so that's that. So, first of all, thanks for the kind words. I'm really glad that you've enjoyed the videos and that they feel humane and that they feel simple enough for the layman to put into place. And that was really kind of like the main goals behind it was not humane, because we always train humane, but to make it easy and simple for everybody has been such a driver for us. So I'm glad it came across that way. Typically, we start around like 4 months. If the dog comes to us and needs help with that. We've trained plenty of dogs at 4 months on e-collar, so that's a real easy breezy one. And your dog is 6 months, so your dog is like so in the zone for it, and he's misbehaving. He's like, he might as well have just like signed his own sign me up. So 4 months is where we start. 6 months is absolutely easy peasy, and your dog's already developing bad habits, so better to cut him off at the pass now before those things get any more deeply entrenched. Here's the thing. Let's see what I was going to say. She was talking about... So just one last little note on that, which was that once you start training, because you had 2 different things, right? So you've got like some just like chewing up the backyard, digging holes, but you've also got not coming when called and stuff like that. So we've got like obedience commands, and we've got like destructive behavior. So teach the obedience commands first. At the very, 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 very least, use our recall video. We've actually got a couple pretty cool ones on there. Excuse me. Use the recall video. I'd get an e-collar Technologies Mini Educator 300 off of Amazon, $180. Order that up, read the manual, make sure you know what you're doing with it. Train your dog recall at the very least. If you want to be a real badass, you'll do sit, down, place, and heel with your dog, and that will make like so much of this behavior like rock and roll. You'll be so impressed with how different your dog will be if you do that stuff. Just the place command, e-collar enforced place command and recall, like if you just do these 2 things where your dog has to come when you call and then has to not move when you ask him to, profound changes in behavior. Profound. Once a dog learns that like mom or dad can actually say place and you move and the dog gets corrected and you're sitting across the room like having a Chardonnay, your dog's like, holy crap, the game's changed, right? So super important. as far as like one of the values, one of the benefits of e-collar work. Now, once you've got some of that stuff done, if you at least do like recall, I'd say like at least do a week of patterning before you do any corrective stuff. Then what you can do is you can correct for any of the destructive behavior, which is like digging holes in the backyard or anything else that you don't like, where you would want to tell your dog no. Jumping up, mouthing, counter surfing, barking unnecessarily, digging, chewing up shrubbery, anything like that. At that point, once the dog's conditioned, then you can just, you don't even have to say anything. Look through the window, watch your dog, spy on him, correct, set him up, correct nice and high, and watch your dog make different choices about digging holes. Holes are so much fun to dig until they're not. Until it becomes hot and heavy, and you're like, this hole is hot. I don't want anything to do with it. So that's my answer. 4 months is where we start. Your dog's perfectly ready to rock and roll and get going with it. Yep. And I think once you get going with that, I think you'll see, like, there's a magic moment when you have a dog, like, you've heard me say this before, but like we get board and trains in all the time that are like come in super snotty. I'll do potty time with them like the first day or so, and they've got long lines on them in the backyard, and I'll be like, come on, let's go. Yeah. And they'll like run away and do all that stuff. And you know what I say? Just wait. Just wait for 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days once you're all patterned on.
And you'll be hopping too. Literally, I tell the dogs that, and they go, ugh. Some part of them knows. So and what I was trying to say is that it's a magic moment when a dog learns you have that ability to control and influence them at a distance. Game changer relationship wise, game changer behavior wise. And so I highly recommend you jump into it. Yeah. Once again, this has been like the theme of this episode, which we rarely do, but you can do a phone consult with us if you need help with any of the e-collar stuff.
Yeah, it's been a tough episode, that's why.
Yeah.
We're trying to answer questions. We feel responsible for the answers. We're not just like, I don't know if we've ever gotten a phone consult we're not pushing them like, hey, this is why we...
Every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while.
I just like to put it out there, like if you need help.
Yeah, we can actually put together a more comprehensive plan. This is like the Cliff Notes version because we can't sit here for an hour and talk you through your specific dog. Yep. But, we can on the phone, if you guys want to go a little bit deeper and do something like that, we can definitely make it like more specific for you.
Yeah, phone consults can be really, really helpful and really like get some great questions answered.
More specifics for your dog. Like we're kind of guessing. We're like,
it's hard. It's hard because we desperately want to give you guys good information, but it's hard because it's very limited in what we get and then also what we can share back with you guys. So we try and like read into it, and we've had so many questions and so many clients that we have a pretty good feel for what's going on with this stuff. Yeah. What were you say? What did you say? What launched you into this? There was something I was going to say.
Because you were saying like this is the theme of the episode. And
I was
it's really important that we tell you that it's not about doing phone consults.
Yeah, we're not trying to shake you down for phone consults. We're actually just like offering if anybody needs that extra help, you can always do that kind of stuff with us. So only 9 questions, but I think we stretched them into 15.
It's actually not so bad. We've only got an hour. The episode turns out to be like an hour 15.
Oh, that's good. I felt like I was just Gabby McNabby. Okay. Yeah. So, what is that, 56 in the can?
Yeah, 56 episodes. That's a year and a week.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Is it a year and a week or it's longer, right? 52?
52 is a year. And then 4 weeks is, year and a month.
This hair is naturally blonde. She's a smart girl. Don't you guys worry. Don't you let this hair confuse you or that answer.
In my head
don't you let it confuse you. I trust you. I trust you impeccably. Anyways, guys, we're gonna get out of here before this gets any longer. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
It's really nice to have you back.
Really nice to
it's
be
nice
back.
To be like
really
here
nice to be, like,
and gabbing with you.
Yeah.
And
you've been the one gone. You're talking about me like I'm gone. I've been here.
It felt like you were gone, but no. Mainly what I'm saying is it's really nice to like. I really enjoy when we get to do the show, and I love that you guys love it and are enjoying it. And I saw that after the last episode, the numbers were way up just because we were together, and I just
that's how it works.
Yeah,
it's going.
You can't like chemistry. You can't just like can't get around it.
Can't do it through Google Hangout.
No, you can try. You can try. We tried. So, anyways, guys, we love you. Take care, and be sure to ask lots of questions next week so we can help you guys out. And
we're here for you.
Yeah, and we've got some real quick. We've got some whole new stuff going on, right? As far as like we're like really like you're revamping, overhauling. Like you're gonna do some stuff with Q&A Saturday overhaul.
We'll tell them next week. We'll start with that.
Top secret.
No, it's just now it's at the end of the episode. They're like ready to go.
Then they're chomping at the bit. They're like, "What are you guys up to? This is exciting."
Don't say anything else.
Okay, I'll just dangle it. Okay. Anyways, guys, that's it. Sorry, I was going to give you a little more info, but like the smart one over here says, zip it up. So, anyways, guys, we appreciate it. Love you. Thanks for checking in, and we will catch you on the flip next week.
Cool. Bang. 56.
See you guys.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.